Hello, and welcome to the Smart Injury Doctors Podcast, the injury market's top program for doctors, lawyers, and insurers who want to gain greater insight on how to improve patient recovery results and deliver better services in the U.S. injury market. Please welcome your host, Dr. Jeffrey Allen Kronk.
Okay, doctors, what I want to talk about today is our personal injury consultants hurting the chiropractic industry. And I'm going to submit that in a lot of cases they are. I don't know that it's by intent. I think there's really good people, but I want to give you kind of a point of view that I have and that I've looked at where we're actually denigrating the chiropractic profession. And in the injury space, this is where I see it the most. And it comes down to, I've heard this so many times. I'm a big advocate for patient results. I'm a huge advocate for patient results. I think if you can take a serious spinal ligament injury and you could get the patient well in 1 month and the patient's stable and they go, wow, I'm pain-free. Now, I'm not saying this happens a lot, right? It may take 3 months. It may take 6 months. It may take a year. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, using this as an example, if you could get the patient very quickly stabilized and long-term stabilized, and the reduction of their symptoms is down to nothing, close to nothing, and the condition no longer interferes with any aspect of their life. That's what you're trying. That's the mission. That's the mission that every provider should have. That's the mission. Now, that's a mission that doesn't get talked about a lot with personal injury consultants. In the Smart Injury Doctors program that I have, that's what we're all about. That we're all about that. And if you can do that, do you need other experts? No. What is the criticalness of that? Who's going to criticize that? Well, one, insurers aren't going to criticize it. They're the ones paying the bill. Two, personal injury attorneys really aren't going to criticize it. If they criticize it at all, it's going to be, I just can't make much money on these claims because the doctor's too efficient and too effective. Now, if I hear that as my critique in my injury center, I know I'm in the right area. Man, I'm doing well. Now you say, well, that's going to cut down my referrals. That's going to cut down it depends. It depends. So I remember I'm listening to an attorney out of Savannah, Georgia, right? And says, he comes out with a YouTube commercial. Hey, if you want to seriously screw up your claim and not make any money with your claim, go to a chiropractor. And I listen to that and I say, yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. The reason why I'd say that is go to a chiropractor is basically they get the patient well too quick. The real money is in non-recovery. The real money is in, well, let's get everybody in and let's do $200,000 worth of care and then let's settle the claim. If you think that those numbers are high, go to California. They're not high, right? The numbers are in, okay, well, let's get everybody, hey, the way we settle claims is we want high medical bills because we don't really want to learn about the injuries in the legal profession. We just want high medical bills because we can see that high medical bills equate to there must have been a serious injury or all this medical care would not have been necessary. And that's our argument. But that is a denigration of those that can do great care and get great results. That's a denigration of that. And I want you to see that. I'll tell you the biggest denigration there is the most powerful test in a spinal injury is your x-ray machine. It's your simple x-ray machine. Do you realize that I have taken basically the chiropractic x-ray guideline information and we programmed that, we took that information seriously and the need for that. And that is the key to chronic pain diagnosis. That is the key to injury diagnosis. It's the main key. It's the simplest, it's the most cost-effective test. That's why people poo-poo it. It doesn't look as high-tech. That's why people poo-poo it. And it also, there's so much weird, strange information, people creating softwares, doing all kinds of stuff out there where they don't really understand it, but they just want to make money. They just want to provide something for the chiropractor. They know the chiropractor doesn't understand it. And so nobody understands, hey, this programming wasn't right or the way it's calculating these things isn't right. And so Nobody understands it. It's X-ray. Now, a lot of personal injury consultants, I've seen very few, if any, that have emphasis on that. Emphasis all on the MRI. Get advanced education on MRI. MRI, 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 MRI. Oh my gosh, you got to have MRI on every single patient. And that, let me show you how to plug in. Look, what you know is this X-ray stuff, it's chiropractic. If you really want to get in here and you really want to make a lot of money, which is fine. I'm totally pro money, right? But what you want to be able to do in a service, and I learned this one from Grant Cardone. I've always used it in my life. Under promise and over deliver. Under promise and over deliver. First time in my life I heard a change to that. Grant Cardone said that is absolute BS. Grant Cardone, for those of you who don't know him, he's a big sales and real estate investment guy. You can look him up. He said, no. If you want to be a great business, over promise and over deliver. I was like, wow, what a great idea. What a great idea. In our industry, what does that mean? Well, it means getting great results with patients. You can make a tremendous amount of money if you can get great results with patients. I routinely, just 2 weeks ago, I'm with a clinic. They see 800 new injury patients a month. 800, all chiropractic services, all chiropractors, right? 800. Now, is there focus on MRI? Absolutely not. Thank God. Absolutely not. What is their focus on? X-ray, chiropractic, delivery. Good. Do the majority of their patients need outside referrals? No. No, they do not. Why? Because they're getting better within the clinic and the clinic settings and the routines that they do. Because they're focused on great injury care and great injury recoveries. And because they're doing it and because they have 800 new injury patients a month that come into it, guess what? They dictate the market. These personal injury consultants that basically say, no, you're at the effect of the market. You don't dictate your market. Your market dictates you. Your market dictates what you do. Because the attorney doesn't know anything and because they all want MRI, basically that dictates what you're going to do. You don't dictate the market dictates you. And that's what I don't like about personal injury consultants is the majority of them are consultants that say the market dictates you, therefore to get in it, this is what you have to do. I'm different. I'm going to show you how to dictate the market, how you're the cause of this market. But the biggest thing you have to look at is you have to look at results. If I look at results, if we want to just look at discs, I can look at 2023 study right here. I got it sitting right in front of me. Systematic review, meta-analysis, predictive factors for spontaneous regression in lumbar disc herniations. Guess what? If you've got a bulge, if you got a protrusion, if you got a herniation, or you got a sequestered disc. If you got a bulge, 13, this is after, I believe, conclusion, predictive further investigation. This is either 6 months or a year, I think, on this study. I don't remember what the amount of time was. No, 11.5 months is when they re-MRI'd. Sorry, 11.5 months. Guess what? Bulges, 13% went away. Okay, protrusions, 52%, spontaneous, went away. 70% of the herniations retracted. 93% of the sequestered discs completely reabsorbed. Okay, a disc injury is not a permanent injury. There's some aspects to it that are permanent. The tear, the damage done to the annular fibers, that is permanent. I agree with that. But the problem is it's the ligaments around this. It's the facet ligaments. It's the spinal support ligaments. That's the problematic thing. That's chiropractic's wheelhouse. That's where it should be the strongest. And that's where you basically have the most in the market. And any provider, I mean, you have personal injury consultants that say, oh, no, don't send out for an excessive motion test. That's going to chew up too much money in the claim, and your attorney won't like it. And they teach you how to be minimized in the market, and that drives me absolutely crazy. You should not be minimized. The providers that can get the best results should be the highest paid because the amount of cost, these injuries have a super high cost to them. If you have chronic low back pain after an injury, the American Pain Society says it's going to cost you $9,000 to $19,000 to medically manage this. The pain research says it's going to cost $77,000 if you got any form of chronic pain. You're going to spend $7,700 more per year in medical management of that condition. The American Headache Foundation says if you got headaches that are chronic, you're going to spend about $8,600 more in medical services a year. These chronic problems cost a lot, right? So if you have personal injury consultants that are driving you to make you feel like you have to do things that you really are not clinically comfortable with doing because they're saying that's what the market dictates, and if you want to make money in this market, that's what you have to do. I say it's minimizing you and it's minimizing our profession because you need to be the lead. We need to be the lead. For in my world, I'm the lead, right? I know more about this condition. I know more of diagnosing. The majority of the market doesn't even know what a spinal support ligament injury is, let alone how to diagnose it, how to assess it, how to determine its severity and location, how to determine what is the problem in the cranial-cervical junction, how that relates to a mild traumatic brain injury, how that is the cervical profile in the mild traumatic brain injury trajectories, how that profile is the main one that will cause anxiety and behavioral problems. It'll cause cognitive dysfunction or problems. It'll cause headaches. It'll actually cause visual, and it'll cause balance difficulties. It'll cause all of the things that you actually have with a mild traumatic brain injury. Balance issues are not going to cause a cranial-cervical junction problem. Visual disturbances are not going to cause a cranial-cervical junction problem. It's the main problem in mild traumatic brain injuries. The spinal injury doctor, the spinal injury chiropractor that understands this is the most valuable provider out there for mild traumatic brain injury recoveries, bar none. So anybody that is basically leading you down the path where you're not empowered to be the lead, I think is doing a disservice to you and is doing a disservice to the profession. And I get tired of them, quite frankly, because I think it's a disservice. I am tired of those consultants that basically make chiropractors a doormat to other services that are supposedly more respected or more effective, I guess. You know, if I go to the Washington State Lumbar Fusion Guidelines, anybody can look these up, Washington State Work Comp Lumbar Fusion Guidelines, it's going to say in the back, now, if a person needs a fusion fusion, you need a good fusion doctor. But let's take a look at the results, right? Research-based findings related to lumbar fusion among injured workers in the state of Washington. Studies among the workers, Washington State, following post-operative outcomes. The chance of an injured worker no longer being disabled 2 years after a lumbar fusion is only 32%. That's high, right? The chance of an injured worker no longer being disabled after a lumbar fusion is 32%. Now, what does that mean? That means the rest of them are. More than 50% of the workers who received a lumbar fusion through Washington State Workers' Compensation Program felt both the pain and functional recovery were no better or were worse after lumbar fusion. The overall reoperation rate within 2 years of the fusion is approximately 23%. These are the stats, doctors. These doesn't make the spinal surgeons bad. It just means that you need to do everything to get them out of that condition. And it doesn't mean, oh my God, we got to plug you in. Here's the other consultants. We got to plug you in. This is how you really want to make money. We got to plug you in. Do 4 weeks of care, then get them off to pain management. Do 4 weeks of care to get them off to pain management. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's making you a doormat to other services, and I don't agree with it. And chiropractic needs to be the leader in this area, even though we're very small. So I want to, and yeah, the other thing is, this constant education, man, it kills me when I see these guys out there thinking that they can, their thing is going to be, hey, I learned how to read MRIs better. Now, is that helpful? Sure, I guess it's helpful. But I don't know, if you're going to sit there and be a chiropractor and you're going to testify in court that basically you understand it better than the radiologist does, it's not going to go over that well. Unless you're really just a super, super, super good person testifying. What you need to do is stay in your lane and know your lane and blow your lane up so you are dictating your own market. The market is not dictating you. You are dictating, if people, when people go in, a lot of times, and even in my program, in the Smart Injury Doctors program, we teach doctors to go into attorneys. Okay, but I teach them with a little different idea. Right? Here's the thing. Here's the idea. If you understand injury work, you understand chronic pain work. 100%. And the more you understand injury, the more you understand chronic pain. You can have the largest clinic, whatever you want. If you want the largest headache clinic, good, you can have it. Largest chronic neck pain clinic, you can have it. Largest low back, lumbar, chronic pain clinic, you can have it. Largest injury clinic, you can have it. When you know injury, you can have all of that. Okay, so here's the problem. When I teach doctors to go into these offices, I don't care if it's a medical doctor's office or if it's a attorney's office or whatever. I know one thing when I go in, and I teach the doctors this as well. Guess what? These people either have a chronic condition or they know somebody that has a chronic condition that hasn't been helped. I already know that. So when I teach doctors to go in is that you're going to be of help. Your first person in the relationship might be a non-injury patient that comes in from the attorney referral. It could be an attorney's family member. It could be their staff. Because of what you explained about the injuries and how successful you are with being able to help with them and why. Right? So first of all, or their first case may be the problematic case. Now, the reason why I say that is because I know when I go into a law firm, they are loaded with people that are not doing well because they're in this system that a lot of these personal injury consultants basically are in. In a personal injury consultant, it wouldn't be a bad idea, and I don't know how you would track it because I don't have the ability to track it either. We've never thought about tracking it. I'm just thinking about it while I'm voicing it on the podcast today, but. These people are in the chronic state because of what a lot of these personal injury consultants have consulted doctors to do, which is put them in this machine that's highly inefficient and highly ineffective. So we teach our doctors to go in knowing the attorney is loaded. The attorney firm is loaded with those. They're loaded with patients that are not doing better. Why? One, because the main injury's not been understood, and two, they're working with doctors that don't fully understand these injuries. So at that point, I can still take that patient, that failed patient, and I can turn that failed patient into a much better result. And that might be what you get. Or it may be somebody sitting in the office with chronic headaches that's listening to what you said, and it's the paralegal. They come in, you help them with that aspect of things, doing the same things you would do for an injury patient, same sort of workup, and same sort of identification of condition. So doctors, I personally don't like it when people are promoting or educating chiropractors on the fact that they're not the primary. You're absolutely 1,000% primary. You should start to take and put together a clinic that dictates your market, not is dictated to by the market. Too many personal injury consultants want to just plug you in and make sure you understand the system and how you fit into the system so that you can do your care, get your patients out to other care, out to other procedures. Everybody's happy. You made some money. Maybe you got your bill cut by 50%, but you made some money. Now you're in a thing where hey, I'm in this system. I got to take 50% reductions. When you're taking chronic 50% reductions, you're in the machine I'm talking about. You're actually in that machine, whether you want to address it or not. Now, it is not hard to get out of that machine. You have to be careful. You have to financially make sure that you're doing it the correct way because you're going to service that and create a different at the same time. And it's not that hard to show you how to do that. But if you're in that means, you don't feel like you are the lead. And you're getting your bills cut, and you have to, in order to participate, in order to get these referrals, you have to do certain things, and those certain things you don't even feel are definitely necessary, or you have to send out for procedures way earlier than you ever would. You're in that system, and you don't have to stay in it. And that is a system that I don't like, that many of the personal injury consultants help to create today. So that's what I wanted to talk about in today's podcast. I know it's a little bit longer. Hopefully gives you something to think about when you're looking at working and getting help, and you're looking at getting involved with a group. Make sure that group has what you want involved. Doing what, the kind of practice that you want to be involved with. The kind of practice in our Smart Injury Doctors is the practice where they say, look, I want to be great at treating these, and I want to be a one-stop shop. If I don't need to send out for an MRI, I don't have to send out. If I don't have to send out for pain management because I'm really getting these cases done really well, and my biggest complaint is you're too good at what you do, that's where I want to be, and that's where I want our doctors to be. So if you want to find out more about our program, go to smartinjurydoctors.com or call us at 800-940-6513. Always what I do with these podcasts is this is probably one of the longer ones I've done, but keep it short, sweet, to the point, and hopefully you get something from it, and I hope to deliver more content to you soon.
You've been listening to the Smart Injury Doctors Podcast, the #1 audio production show for professionals in the U.S. injury market that want to deliver better injury services to the patients, clients, or insureds they serve. If you like what you heard today, please leave us a review, and don't forget to join us on our next program.